What's going on, guys? I'm Jada Black. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in. I want to talk about the story of this 29-year-old police officer by the name of Tiffani Gatson in New York, who decided to end the life of her girlfriend and the girlfriend's relative right in front of the woman's children. And there was a neighbor that tried to intervene and I'm assuming get the children away from it. But Tiffani did not do that because Tiffani was a maniac with a badge. Okay. You see, people like Tiffani become police officers because they've had no power in their life whatsoever. And having a badge and a weapon gives them that. So her standing there pointing the weapon at her girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, it made her feel immensely powerful in that moment. And she was not going to let anybody ruin that. She wanted that woman's children to see her do what she did. Not only she took the life of her girlfriend, but she tried to end the life of the woman's sister. A sister is still being treated for non-life-threatening injuries due to her being struck as well. I want y'all to understand something. I did a story about this similar situation. There was an Asian American woman who was a police officer who took the life of her girlfriend, but she didn't take her own life. See, Tiffani took her own life. She took the coward's way out. She did not want to be confronted for what she did because she's a weak woman, or was a weak woman. And she did not want to face the music. She did not want to face what she had done. But with this other female, this Asian American female, she was arrested. She was arrested. She took the life of her ex-girlfriend who didn't want to be with her anymore. And we're seeing a pattern here. These women are getting badges and weapons and they're using it to bully their spouses. You see, these women get into relationships with other women thinking that they're not going to have the issues that they may think they're going to have with men. Oh no, you're going to have those issues, especially when you're dealing with somebody who's insecure, okay? Somebody who feels empty. And trust me, I believe Tiffani at 29 only became a police officer because she felt empty. She wanted to feel powerful and strong. She probably always wanted to end herself. And this gave her a reason to do it. And she wanted to make sure she took out as many people as possible. Because when you have, see, a lot of Western women are very unhappy. They're very unhappy. And don't believe the BS about how these women are living their best life. These women are miserable. They are miserable. They hate themselves. They hate being women. This is why women who are older, let's say women who are grandmothers, right? Great grandmothers who've been married to the same man for, decades, right? There's a reason why they are a lot more happier in their life than a lot of these millennials, because Tiffani is a millennial. I told y'all millennial women are some of the strangest, weirdest, creepiest women out here. Millennial women are the worst. And Tiffani was a millennial, okay? And she started dating this woman. I'm not sure how long they dated. We'll get into the article. This woman has children, and she thought she was gonna be the stepdaddy mama to them kids. Swoop in and save the day. And you want to confront her because you think she cheating on you. I told you, you women got to understand something. You think it's bad when you're dealing with men. What happens when you piss off these women? What do you think are gonna happen? Especially if you're so-called cheating on her. She must have been cheating on her with a guy. Because remember, her now deceased girlfriend, her name is Angela. She has 2 children, which means that at any moment she can always go back to sleeping with men. It just like the previous story that I just did about a woman who has 4 children. How she was dating a lesbian, right? And the lesbian took her life. And it was because, she didn't want to be with the lesbian anymore. And apparently went back to dating men, and the lesbian couldn't handle it and took that woman's life right in front of her child. It's almost like they get some weird, sick pleasure out of taking people's lives right in front of others, especially their children. There's a lot of unhappy, unsavory women out here. A lot of these Western women are undateable. A lot of them have mental illness. And people want to sweep stories like this under the rug. It's hard to find articles about this. I did find some via, Daily Mail. But other than that, it's, I think the New York Post. But where everybody else at? Why is everybody else neglecting this story? So let's get into it. This is according to Sandra Rose. I also have an article here from Sports Kita as well. It says an off-duty upstate New York police officer fatally struck a 27-year-old woman and wounded the woman's sister before turning the weapon on herself in the process. The police say 29-year-old officer Tiffani Gatson struck the two women outside of a home in suburban Rochester before ending herself. Responding officers found 3 bleeding women outside the home on Coster Street around 7:20 p.m. Monday. They say her name is Angely. I saw it say Angela. I guess is it Angely? Solis or Angela was pronounced deceased at the scene. Gatson and the surviving victim were transported to Strong Memorial Hospital, where Gatson was pronounced deceased. The surviving victim is a 30-year-old woman who was hospitalized with multiple shot wounds. She was not publicly identified. A neighbor described seeing one of the women begging for her life before she was disposed in front of her 2 minor children. That is some sick, weird. That's a sick, weird thing to do, to take that woman's life right in front of her children. I just saw a bunch of blood. She had her hands up and she was begging for her life. The neighbor told a reporter she wanted her kids. She was begging for her kids. She was begging for her life. Gatson had already struck her once. Lieutenant Greg Bello of the Rochester Police Department declined to provide any details, but sources say the incident began with a domestic dispute between Gatson and her ex-girlfriend. The officer reportedly accused her ex of infidelity. Well, y'all aren't together anymore. Why are you concerned about her cheating? Again, you got these weak people who become police officers just so they can have power in their life. They're not used to that. And what ends up happening, they use it against their spouses because they can walk around with weapons and they have a badge if they didn't get away with it. Bello said Gatson was a law enforcement officer in the neighboring jurisdiction who was off duty at the time of the incident. Gatson made history in 2018. Now, this is the kicker here, y'all. In 2018 was the first ever black officer to join the Greece Police Department. Greece is a suburb of Rochester, New York. Gatson was a road patrol officer, according to Greece officials. Gatson, who grew up in Rochester, was reportedly turned down by the Rochester Police Department due to an alleged history of mental health issues. You got this Lori Lightfoot looking. She looks like what Lori Lightfoot would probably look like if she was in her 20s. Short like a 2. You got this heifer, this badge wearing, weapon wielding heifer who was turned down previously because she had mental health issues. So you mean to tell me that the Greece Police Department was so desperate that in spite of her having mental health issues, you still made her a police officer, even though you know this woman has mental health issues and that's why you turned her down? Why would you do that? Why would you allow her to take the oath? This person should not be anywhere near a weapon and a badge. You see, these are the type of people who I believe are doing the most damage to police departments. Are these people who clearly have mental issues that you hire anyway? Why is it? Because you had a diversity quota? They say, listen, you better hire some black women, fill that quota, so you go and hire a black woman with mental issues. And you already, did she fix those mental issues? Did she take her medication? Like, this is unbelievable to me. This is why policing is at its all-time worst. Now, this was back in 2018, but I mean, the policing has been bad for a while. And you see why. We see why we have these police officers doing dumb things, because they're being hired when they're not capable of fulfilling their obligations. These people are clearly out of their mind. You hired somebody that definitely wanted to end it all at some point. She was an empty woman. She was an empty woman that just wanted to cause some havoc at some point, probably abuse her job. Y'all know how these people do. And it's unfortunate. This woman should have never been a police officer. Never. This woman probably already was a ticking time bomb. She was a ticking time bomb. It was only a matter of time before she self-destructed. And unfortunately, it took the life of a mother of 2 children. And let me tell a lot of you single mothers something. You better be careful of the type of people that you date. Because you never know when you come across somebody who is just clearly insanely out of their mind. And it can cost you your life. So let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see y'all in the next one.